Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you can join me here today. Last week on the 13th of February 2025, I had the opportunity to visit one of the people I have been really inspired by recently. His name is Sahil Bloom. He releases content on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, X, what it's called now. And his whole ethos in life is just to inspire people to live the best versions of themselves. And I picked up on him maybe a year ago, and I've been following him for a while. And I think he's a fantastic individual in terms of he's trying to bring the best out in people and making them walk their journeys in life in the best way possible. So a bit about his backstory. So he told us about his backstory where he basically after he graduated from university, he from school, that's what they call it in America. He tried to get into sports. He was a basketball player, I believe, but he didn't quite make it. So he went into finance and he started working in I don't know, venture capital or whatever it was, something in finance. And then COVID hit, and it literally hit him that he's not doing anything substantial with his life. In terms of, yes, he earned some money, some good money. He had a house, he had a wife. He didn't have a child, so they were trying to conceive for a few years, and he didn't they were struggling to conceive. He now has a 2-year-old son, I believe. But at that point in time, he didn't really have any of that, and plus his relationship with his parents was not as good as it should be. So his parents lived, I think, on the west coast, if I'm not mistaken, and he was on the east coast, about 3,000 miles apart, and he only saw them roughly once a year. So when he met up with a friend, and the friend asked him how his parents were and how often he sees him, and how old they were, his friend told him that if his parents were in their mid-60s, realistically, he's going to see his parents only about 15 times before they die. If they die in the mid-70s, because if he sees them once a year, then he only has about 15 opportunities to see his parents. And that hit him hard, very hard. And I think that's what spiraled the change. He moved closer to his parents. He started investing more into himself and trying to understand who he is as a person, and then also inspire other people in the process. So he published his first book last week, which I have a copy of. It is called The 5 Types of Wealth. There you go, by Sahil Bloom. And the 5 types of wealth are time, social, mental, physical, and financial. The whole point of the book is that money and financial wealth is important, but it's not the end goal. There's more important things that we should be focusing on. So he gave an example of Warren Buffett. So he said basically, if you could trade lives with Warren Buffett, who's worth I don't know, $195 million or something like that, something stupid like that, would you trade lives with him? You actually wouldn't, right? Because he's 95 years old. He only has a few years left to live before he dies. You'd be stupid to trade lives with him when you have your whole life ahead of you. Even though you might not have as much money, you have time, and that's the first kind of wealth he talks about, time wealth. And then social wealth, mental wealth is all about your mindset and being strong in your mental framework. And physical wealth is being healthy and being able to do things like run marathons and go to the gym and doing things that make you better and healthier as an individual. So money is important, but I think his whole ethos in this book is besides money, there are other things that are just as important. Not to say that money isn't important. Of course, it's important, because we live in this world where money is a commodity that is traded with. So to be able to live a fulfilled life, money forms a part of it, but it is not the end goal. And I think that's the ethos of the book. I haven't read it yet, but I think it's something that I am looking forward to reading in the next few months. But the reason I wanted to make this video was while he was giving that the talk. So the talk, for the whole point of him coming to London from the States was to be able to do this book launch and to be able to propagate his book, so more people understand what the book's about and then hopefully buy it. He actually became a New York Times bestseller the day before we had the talk. So that was really good. Very happy for him about that. But he made a point, which I'd like to share in this video and hopefully see if it resonates with someone else, because it really struck me when he made that point, it really struck to the core of my heart, and I really started questioning myself on that point. What was his point? He was saying we are all climbing mountains. So all of us in life are climbing a certain mountain. And we have to ask a question at certain points in our life, at a certain point in our life. And the question is the mountain that I am climbing actually the mountain I want to climb? Or is it a mountain that society, my parents, my culture, my tradition, the country I live in, they have dictated what mountain I should be climbing? And that hit me hard because essentially, if you think about it, a lot of times we live life and life is done on us. So things happen to us and then we just basically react to it. And then we just end up going on a path that we're not even sure if that is the path we really want in life. So when he asked that question, is the mountain that you are climbing actually the mountain you want to be climbing, or is it been forced onto you? Forget decree. Decree is a separate matter altogether, which I'll talk about in a bit. But is it been forced onto you by your parent society? I'll give you an example. So, for example, when I left school, I left A levels in the UK. So this we call it A levels. Then you go to university, and I remember I had a passion for a language, for Arabic language. I really enjoyed studying that language. I ended up going to Damascus just after my A levels for 3 months to study Arabic because I just really enjoyed it and I love the atmosphere and the culture. And I have studied a bit of Arabic, but not as much as I would have wanted to. So I remember I went to my parents and I told them I wanted to study Arabic and economics at SOAS University, which is a university in the UK. And the good thing about this course was that it was, I think, a 4-year course, and there was a sandwich year in between where you get to go to either Jordan, to Cairo, Egypt, or to some other country, I can't remember, where you get to study Arabic in that country for 6 months or 1 year or whatever it was. And I thought there was a fantastic opportunity to be able to do something like this where you study a language, but not only study the language, you immerse yourself in the culture of that language. I found it very mesmerizing and inspiring. So I went to my parents, and being Asian parents, I come from an Asian background. The first question they asked was, will I get a job after that? How will I make money after that? Are there any prospects? Is there anything I can do with it? That's a typical question answer you get from the question from that kind of an upbringing, because obviously like that's in terms of, I know it's a stereotype, but a lot of Asian parents grow up with that mentality that you go to university so you can earn a living, so you can make money and live a good life, because more money equals to a better life, because obviously they came from a different country and they had to work really hard to get to where they are, and they don't want us to suffer in the same way. So they do it out of good intentions, but the whole point is they basically told me that they wouldn't support me, but they strongly advised against me doing that degree. Looking back, obviously I could have said no, and I could have said I want to do this, I have a passion for this, but I did respect their decision, and I ended up doing a degree in mathematics with management and finance. Again, a great degree. I actually loved it, and I even went on to study a second degree after that degree a few years later at the University of Birmingham. I studied philosophy, religion, and ethics. Again, a fantastic degree. And I think mathematics and philosophy are very closely tied, which is where my passion for philosophy actually comes from. Studying a 3-year degree in philosophy was phenomenal. But anyways, the point I want to make was I was led into a certain mountain because my parents say that I have to be conscious of the fact that I need to be able to make money to be able to live in this world, which is important. I mean, financial wealth is still one of the wealths. And interestingly and curiously, out of the 5 wealths that Sahil Bloom talks about, the last one he mentions is financial. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I do think that because we've grown up thinking that financial wealth is the be all and end all, I think we now have to have a reframe where we where we think about money in a way where it's not the most important thing, because money is the way you measure people. You measure success by how rich a person is. But really, if you look at their life, if you look at the life they're living, the children don't talk to them. Then I remember I heard this in a podcast. Someone asked a billionaire whether he's happy, and he told the guy who was asking him, he said, my adult children willingly want to spend time with me, which means I'm happy because I'm successful in having achieved it. So he didn't care about the money. It was more about the fact that his children willingly wanted to spend time with him. And I think that's an important framework. So anyway, so going back to my example, I was forced to climb this mountain to study mathematics, and then I went into the finance world. I did an accounting degree. I did my chartered accountancy qualification as well to become an accountant, because that was the path that was charted for me. My dad's an accountant too, so I guess it all fell into place in that way. But if I ask myself, was that the mountain I wanted to climb? Really, was it the mountain I really wanted to climb? Is this something I really wanted to do in life? I don't think so. Because I never once woke up with a passion to work as an accountant. I don't think, if you ask 70 to 80% of accountants, they will tell you they only work to pay the mortgage or to have a good standard of living. They don't have this passion. And I know people who are passionately desirous, and they have a lot of desire for accounting and the financial world. I remember I go to these work conferences, and they have like debates between the different senior officials about share-based payments and where they should be recognized in the P&L versus the balance sheet, and the whole concept of transfer pricing, and whether it should be a cost plus method or a profit split method, whatever it was. Yeah, and to be honest, they love those discussions. It's like you can see how animated they are. But I'm not, because I couldn't care less, to be honest. I'm just doing it because I learned that a share-based payment should be recognized in a certain way, so you put it in the balance sheet the way it should be put it, based on whatever standard you follow, and that's fine. I really have no deep concern or appetite to be able to debate with someone on where it should go in the balance sheet or the P&L. But that's by the by. But what I'm trying to say is, I think sometimes we get led up a mountain, and we stay on that mountain. We keep on climbing that mountain because we believe that is the mountain we need to be on, because life has led us there. So we just go with the flow because it's easier, right? It's easier to go with the flow. It's very hard to go against the flow. It's very hard. And you think about it and you think, okay, let's just go with the flow. The reward is good. Money is good. You get to have a good house, a good car. You get to go on holidays. Yes, okay, you work 9 to 5. You work 5 days a week. You only have breaks when you go on holiday. Otherwise, you're always working. But really, if I ask myself, is this what I wanted out of life? Let me tell you what I think about this. So imagine I'm on my deathbed. I'm literally on my deathbed, and my soul is coming out of my throat, coming out as the angel of death, if you believe in that, is pulling my soul away. And I get a glimpse of the life. I get a flashback of my life that I have lived, and a big portion of my life would be spent in working and earning a living. And if I were to be in the situation where my soul is being pulled out of my body, and I think to myself, did I live the life I wanted to live, or did I live the life someone else asked me to live? I would be very, very disappointed if I did not live the life I wanted to live. Because essentially, my life is a gift to me from God. I strongly believe this, and He put me on this earth for a reason. And in fact, I strongly also believe that people have a passion for certain things. They have a natural inclination, and even those are divinely inspired. Because if let's say a person is inspired to be a coach, that was a passion in him put there by God, because the potential for him to become a great coach was always there, and it it is through that passion that he'll be able to exude his light into the universe, and help other people come out of their shells and become better individuals. But I believe those passions are gifts. They are like a divine breeze that has been breathed into us, that we have to breathe out into the world, because it is like a it is like something that is precious, that we have to be able to offer back to the world. It's in there, it's in our hearts. But if we die on our deathbeds with that being in our hearts, then I feel like we have lost the purpose of what it is to be living a fulfilled life, as Aristotle called it, a eudaimonic life. I'll give you an example. I've mentioned this example before, but the first the first Imam of Shia Muslims, or the fourth Caliph of all the Muslims, Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was the grandson of the Prophet, was once walking through a graveyard. And as he was walking with his companions, he just randomly pointed at this person and said, "Oh, this guy was a poet, this guy was a philosopher, this guy was a jurist." And the companions just look at Imam Ali, and they're very perplexed, and they're very they feel like there's something wrong here. They turn to him and tell him, I don't think you're right about this, because I know this guy. I used to know this guy very well. This guy was a loafer. He used to walk on the markets and do nothing whatsoever. And the other guy, he was the same. He was a loafer. He just spent his days in the markets doing nothing, just smoking pot all day or whatever it is. and then Imam Ali turns to his companions and he tells him, I'm not talking about what they did in their life. I'm talking about the potential that was within them, that they might not have actually expressed it to the world through their breath, but it was there within. And I feel like that if I were in that situation, I would be so disappointed. Forget God being disappointed in me. I would be disappointed with myself, that I lived 50, 60, 70 years of life doing something that I didn't have a passion and desire for, and doing something that I knew wasn't helping people, helping others. I mean, yes, balancing books are helping the big corporations to pay less tax. I mean, that's essentially, I work for a multinational corporation, and I'm helping the multinational corporation to pay less tax, basically. I'm not really helping people in the way that I would be able to offer my services, right? And that doesn't mean that I'm going to quit my job now, and I enjoy what I'm doing, so I'm still going to be working. But what I'm saying is, on the side, I can think about my passion, and I can see ways on how I can improve people's lives, because by improving people's lives, I also improve my life as well. It's a cyclical thing. It's all interconnected. It's not just if I help someone else, I'm not helping myself. It's all connected. The light flows through. So if I'm helping one side, the other side also benefits, because the light is, we are all one interconnected human society. I strongly believe that we are all connected somehow or the other. So yeah, the question he asked is, are you climbing the mountain that you want to climb? Is the mountain you're climbing the mountain that you wanted to climb, or is it a mountain that society has enforced upon you to climb? And I think that's an important question. It's such a pertinent question that before any other question you ask yourself, before any other question that you want to bring up to yourself, I think this is probably the most important question, because you think about your life and you think about what you really want out of your life. And if this is not what you want, then we have a problem. We have a problem. Because like I said, if I was on my deathbed, I'd be very disappointed if I was climbing a mountain. I was going so fast up a mountain, but it wasn't a mountain I wanted to climb. It was a mountain that society, my parents, I don't know, the country I live in, other people have influenced me to climb that mountain, but it wasn't what I deeply wanted. But this is my life. This is my chance to shine and show the world what I have to offer. The divine breath that is in me, I wanted to breathe it out, to be able to offer it to the world, so that someone else may benefit and I also benefit from it, because I am fulfilling the purpose and the potential that I have been gifted. Because I believe each and every one of us has a unique gift that we can offer to the world. I wrote this book up before, The Unfair Advantage by Ash Ali and Hassan Kuba. Again, we all have advantages, unfair advantages that we can use to our benefit to help other people. The other book that would definitely work for this talk is this book by Simon Sinek, which I've discussed before as well. Start It Why. Again, just asking yourself, what is it that I really want? What is my purpose? What is the mountain that I want to climb, not the mountain that other people have forced me into climbing just because, I mean, this is what society does. And you know what? When you talk about financial wealth, the reason why, if I told you wealth, you would jump straight to financial wealth, because this is how the world measures everything. Everything is measured by wealth. The most successful person in the world, if I ask people on the street, if I again went to the streets of London, I said, who do you think is the most successful person in the world? Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett. I mean, yes, I mean, they're rich, but there are more ways to measure success than just that. Jeff Bezos, did he cheat on his wife? And then did someone find out, I think someone hacked his phone, this was years ago. Some Indian guy hacked on his phone and leaked all the messages that proved that he was cheating on his wife. I mean, what? Warren Buffett, he has admitted this. He's not shy about admitting this. He said, by building his business over 30 years or whatever time, 50 years, whatever he was building it in, he lost out time with his children because he didn't make the most of his time with his children. And now you know the time wealth, it's gone. Because once they're grown up. I mean, in fact, Sahil Bloom was mentioning that when it comes to time wealth, when you have kids, the first 10 years are the most important, because those are the 10 years where me as a dad or the mom, becomes the most important person. You are the most important person in their lives, and they look up to you. They'll reach an age where they won't even want to spend time with you because they have other people who are more important. They have friends they're making, they have business plans they're making when they grow older. They have their own families, they have their own children. Once they're grown up, that's it. Time is gone. It's not coming back. And that's the whole point of all of these wealths is they're very finite in nature. We have to be holistic. And the other point which I'll end with is he also talked about the point of balance. He said, okay, yes, we should try and balance all of these different types of wealth. But sometimes we have seasons in life where we focus more on one type of wealth over the other. But we know that we're doing it for a purpose. So for example, if I'm training to run the London Marathon now, right? So I spend a lot of time on the road running. I'm going to be doing an 18-mile run this weekend, which should take me roughly around 3 hours, over 3 hours. That's a lot of time running on your feet. But this is something that I've set myself as a challenge. It's a time of imbalance where I know I have to put my body through a bit more strain than what is normally used to, because I'm training for something that is bigger than me, something that is higher than me, something that I want to prove to myself that I have the potential to be able to do something as great as run a marathon. Only 1% of the world, I think, runs a marathon. But the whole point is, there are times of imbalance, and that's okay. It's okay as long as you know that this is a time of imbalance where one side will focus more on the other. Then you can, as soon as that's done, then you can balance it out and come back to your baseline, which is a time of balance. But all of this I'm saying is all subsidiary to the mountain that you're climbing. As long as you are climbing the mountain that you want to climb, then that is amazing. But if it isn't, then it's time I question myself and I ask myself, am I really climbing the mountain that I want to climb? Or am I climbing the mountain that other people, society, or even my fears have made me climb? Because I'm scared of taking the leap of faith, as Kierkegaard called, I think, Kierkegaard. The leap of faith. I'm scared of doing that. I stop myself from doing it. But it's time to stop all that fear, the negativity, the doubt, and just go for it, because you have one life. On your deathbed, on my deathbed, I will not be disappointed that I went for something and I failed at it. I'll be disappointed that I never even gave myself the chance to be able to do it. So I hope that that resonates with you somehow. If it does, please do leave a comment, and I'd love to hear from you on how it resonated. And if not, I shall see you next time. Thank you.